Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev.
Is it just two of us, Mataji? Or there are more devotees? Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, everything was so quiet, so I was not sure. Manasi Ganga Mataji, finally your gifts have reached all the hands of the people to whom they belong.
Oh, good. Thank you, Mataji, for passing them out. Yeah, good.
Thank you, Mataji, for the very wonderful, thoughtful gift.
You're welcome, Mataji.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to read and study them carefully.
Nice. Okay, so it's just the three of us. Well, I put down both Ruchi and myself.
Okay. Yeah. Let me call Ruchi Mataji.
Okay, thank you.
We can say the prayers in the meantime, right, Mataji?
Yes, of course we can.
Okay, yeah. I'm so excited to get a new book and open it to read.
After
long years, we are going to the third class.
How long? When did we start this class, Mataji?
2 years.
It wasn't last summer, but the summer before.
Yeah, it was Vyasa Puja before that, so it's like 2 years already. Vyasa Puja for Guru Maharaj.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice.
So 2 years
it seems like it takes a year for each book, huh?
Don't know. But Mataji, I kind of want to go back, like how we were reading a little, like maybe 3 verses a day, so we can make a little bit more progress. But I kind of liked what you were doing earlier, but we'll see. We'll talk to other devotees also maybe today, and then we can see if we can go a little fast.
So say it again. What is it that you were thinking of doing? Going back and what?
Remember how like Ruchi Mataji was expressing the concern of going fast, like when you were giving 2 or 3 verses in a day, but I kind of liked what you were doing because one thing is that most of the topics are revisited several times, so I kind of like when we did more verses together, but we'll see how others.
Well, this week I followed. Yeah, this week I followed what she said, and I did it very slow. They're very small, but then they're tied to Leelas. So, like I think the Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they're tied to Leela. So I thought that a lot of discussion could occur. But see, I'm tied too because I don't know.
Mataji on the call.
Okay. So Hare Krishna Mataji. So should we start
the class first? We'll go back to the discussion after the class.
Okay.
What do you think? Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
I didn't really see the schedule, but I guess we just have to read the translation, right?
We're just reading. I thought that you and I could do that, and then we could try to summarize. I actually kind of wrote something up, on summary. So you can summarize, and then I'll go back and summarize after.
Manasi Ganga Mataji, please can you summarize before 6 o'clock, because after 6 o'clock I'll have to leave. So
okay.
And I would love to hear your summary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mataji, you can just read the thing that you have written, because there won't be enough time, and besides I didn't look at the schedule, so I didn't even prepare. So yeah, you can carry on, Mataji.
Okay, let's start with prayer now. Okay?
Yes. Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurumilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam
Yena Bhutale
Swayam
Gatanmayam
Dadati
Papatantam Vanchakalpatarubhya Sripasindu Vaevacha Patitam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayan Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devi Saraswati Tato Jayam Udaya Nashtapraya Satreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. So, do you have a book, Ruchi Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, I have a book.
Okay. So, do you want to go back and forth? You read 5 translations, I go back. I read 5. Back and forth like that?
So, we are going to do what? The
okay, so it's Canto 3, Chapter 1, questions by Vidura. And then I thought that maybe you could read 5 translations, then I read 5. And then if somebody else wanting to join in as well? On the
I have a book also today.
Okay. Okay, so we'll do 5, 5, 5. And then pipe in if somebody else wants to as well.
Okay, so you can go ahead. I'll read the next 5 verses. Can somebody read the first?
Okay, so it's 3, 1, 1. Sukadev Goswami, let me just open this up on my computer. Sukadev Goswami said, after renouncing his prosperous home and entering the forest, King Vidura, the great devotee, asked this question of His Grace Maitreya Rishi. 2. What else is there to say about the residential house of the Pandavas? Sri Krishna, the Lord of everything, acted as your minister. He used to enter that house as if it were his own, and he did not take any care of Drojina's house. 3. The king asked Sukadev Goswami, where and when did the meeting and discussion take place between Saint Vidura and His Grace Maitreya Muni? Kindly oblige, my lord, and describe this to us. 4. Saint Vidura was a great and pure devotee of the Lord, and therefore his questions to His Grace Rishi Maitreya must have been very purposeful on the highest level and approved by learned circles. 5. Sri Suta Goswami said, the great sage Sukadev Goswami was highly experienced and was pleased with the king. Thus, being questioned by the king, he said to himself, please hear the topics attentively.
316. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, King Dhritarashtra became blind under the influence of impious desire to nourish his dishonest son, and thus he set fire to the latter house to burn his fatherless nephews, the Pandavas. 317. The king did not forbid his son Dushasan's abominable action of grabbing the hair of Draupadi, the wife of the godly King Yudhishthir, even though her tears washed the red dust on her breast. 318. Yudhishthir, who was born without any enemies, was unfairly defeated in gambling. But because he had taken the vow of truthfulness, he went off to the forest. When he came back in due course and begged the return of his rightful share of the kingdom, he was rebuked by Dhritarashtra, who was overwhelmed by illusion. 319. Lord Krishna was sent by Arjuna into the assembly as the spiritual master of the whole world, and although his words were heard by some, like Bhishma as pure nectar, it was not true for the others, who were completely bereft of the last farthing of pious words. The king Dhritarashtra or Duryodhana did not take the words of Lord Krishna very seriously. 3:110. When Buddha was invited by his elder brother Dhritarashtra for consultation, he entered the house and gave instructions which were exactly to the point. His advice is well known, and instructions by Vidur are approved by expert ministers of state.
Text 11. Vidura said, "You must now return the legitimate shares to Yudhishthira, who has no enemies and who has been forbearing to unfold suffering to your offenses. He is waiting with his younger brothers, among whom is the revengeful Bhima, breathing heavily like a snake. Surely you are afraid of him." 12. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has accepted the sons of Pritha as his kinsmen, and all kings of the world are with Lord Sri Krishna. He is present in his home with all his family members, the kings and princes of the Yadu dynasty, who have conquered all unlimited numbers of rulers, and he is their God. 13. You are maintaining offense personified, Duryodhana, as your infallible son, but he is envious of Lord Krishna, and because you are thus maintaining a non-devotee of Krishna, you are devoid of all auspicious qualities. Relieve yourself of this ill fortune as soon as possible, and do good to the whole family. 14. While speaking thus, Vidura, whose personal character was esteemed by respectable persons, was insulted by Duryodhana, who was swollen with anger and whose lips were trembling. Duryodhana was in company with Karna, his younger brothers, and his maternal uncle Shakuni. 15. Who asked him to come here, this son of a kept mistress? He is so crook that he spies in the interest of the enemy, on whose support he has grown up. Toss him out of the palace immediately and leave him with only his breath.
Is there anybody else on the line that would like to read?
Mataji, I can read.
Okay.
Text 16. Thus being pierced by arrows through his ears and afflicted to the core of his heart, Vidura placed up his bow on the door and quit his brother's palace. He was not sorry, for he considered the acts of the external energy to be supreme. By his piety, Vidura achieved the advantages of the pious Kauravas. After leaving Hastinapur, he took shelter of many places of pilgrimages which were the Lord's lotus feet. With a desire to gain a high order of pious life, he traveled to holy places where thousands of transcendental forms of the Lord are situated. Text 18. He began to travel alone, thinking only of Krishna, through various holy places like Ayodhya, Dwaraka, and Mathura. He traveled where the air, hill, orchard, river, and lake are all pure and sinless, and where the forms of the unlimited decorate the temples. Thus he performed the pilgrim's progress. Text 19. While so traveling the earth, he simply performed duties to please the Supreme Lord Hari. His occupation was pure and independent. He was constantly sanctified by taking his bath in holy places, although he was in the dress of a mendicant and had no hair dressing nor a bed on which to lie. Thus he was always unseen by his various relatives. Text 20. Thus, when he was in the land of Bharatavarsha, traveling to all the places of pilgrimage, he visited Prabhasa Kshetra. At that time, Maharaj Yudhishthir was the emperor and held the world under one military strength and one flag. Shanti Mataji also joined the call. She is also there.
Okay, Shanti, would you like to read?
Yes, Mataji, I will read.
So we're 3-1-21.
21st, yeah. So translation. At the place of pilgrimage at Pravas, it came to his knowledge that all his relatives had died due to the violent passion, just as an entire forest burns due to fire produced by the friction of bamboos. After this, he proceeded west, where the river Saraswati flows. Text 22. On the bank of the river Saraswati, there were 11 places of pilgrimage, namely Tirtha, Usana, Manu, Prithu, 5, Agni, 6, Asita, 7, Vayu, 8, Sudas, 9, Go, 10, Guha, and 11, Stradadev. Vidura visited all of them and duly performed rituals. Text 23. There were also many other temples of various forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu established by great sages and demigods. These temples were marked with the chief emblems of the Lord, and they reminded one only of the original personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Text 24. Thereafter he passed through very wealthy provinces like Surat, Sauvira, and Matsya, and through western India, known as Kuru Jangala. At last he reached the bank of the Yamuna, where he happened to meet Uddhava, the great devotee of Lord Krishna. Text 25. Then, due to his great love and feeling, Vidura embraced him, Uddhava, who was a constant companion of Lord Krishna and formerly a great student of Brihaspati's. Vidura then asked him for news of the family of Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Text 26. How far I need to read?
Why don't you read the next 5?
Up to 27?
To 30.
I will count much. Huh?
That's okay. Why don't you go to 30?
30? 30, okay.
Yes.
Please tell me whether the original personalities of Godhead who incarnated themselves at the request of Brahma, who is born out of the lotus flower from the Lord, and who have increased the prosperity of the world by elevating everyone, are doing well in the house of Surasena. Text 27. Please tell me whether the best friend of the Kurus, our brother-in-law Vasudev, is doing well. He is very munificent. He is like a father to his sisters, and he is always pleasing to his wife. Text 28. O Uddhava, please tell me how is Pradyumna, the commander-in-chief of the Yadus, who was stupid in a former life. Rukmani born him as her son from Lord Krishna by the grace of Brahmanas whom she pleased. Text 30. O gentle one, thus Samba, farewell. He exactly resembles the son of the personality of Godhead in the previous verse.
You missed 29. To read 29.
Oh, did I? Thank you, Mataji. Oh, you are right. 29. Oh, my friend, tell me whether Ugrasena, the king of the Satvats, Vrisni, Bhojas, and Darsarha, is now doing well. He went far away from his kingdom, leaving aside all hopes of his royal throne, but Lord Krishna again installed him. Text 30, translation. O gentle one, does Samba fare well? He exactly resembles the son of the personality of Godhead. In a previous birth, he was born as Kartikeya in the womb of the wife of Lord Shiva, and now he has been born in the womb of Jambavati, the most enriched wife of Krishna.
31. O Uddhava, does Yuyodhana fare well? He learned the intricacies of the military art from Arjun and attained the transcendental destination, which is very difficult to reach even for great renouncers. 32. Please tell me whether Akrura, the son of Vaspalka, is doing well. He is a faultless soul, surrendered unto the personality of Godhead. He once lost his mental equilibrium due to his ecstasy of transcendental love and fell down on the dust of a road, which was marked with the footprints of Lord Krishna. 33. As the Vedas are the reservoir of sacrificial purposes, so the daughter of King Devaka Bhoja conceived the Supreme Personality of Godhead in her womb, as did the mother of the demigods. Is she, Devaki, doing well? 34. May I inquire whether Aniruddha is doing well? He is the fulfiller of all the desires of the pure devotees, and has been considered from yore to be the cause of the Rig Veda, the creator of the mind, and the fourth plenary expansion of Vishnu. 35. O sober one, others such as Kridika, Charudeshna, Gada, and the son of Satyabhama, who accept Lord Sri Krishna as the soul of the self, and thus follow his path without deviation. Are they well? Ruchi? Ruchi, Mataji?
35?
36.
36. Also, let me inquire whether Maharaj Yudhishthir is now maintaining the kingdom according to religious principles and with respect for the path of religion. Formerly, Duryodhan was burning with envy because Yudhishthir was being protected by the arms of Krishna and Arjun as if they were his own arms. 37. Please tell me whether the unconquerable Bhim, who is like a cobra, has released his long-cherished anger upon the sinners. The field of battle could not tolerate even the wonderful playing of his club when he stepped on the path. 38. Please tell me whether Arjun, whose bow bears the name Gandiv, and who is always famous amongst the chariot warriors for vanquishing his enemies, is doing well. He once satisfied Lord Shiva by covering him with arrows when Shiva came as an unidentified false hunter. 39. Are the twin brothers who are protected by their brothers doing well? Just as the eye is always protected by the eyelid, they are protected by the sons of Pritha, who snatched back the rightful kingdom from the hands of their enemy Duryodhan, just as Garuda snatched nectar from the mouth of Indra, the thunderbolt carrier. 40. O my lord, if Pritha is still living, she lived only for the sake of her fatherless children. Otherwise, it was impossible for her to live without King Pandu, who was the greatest commander and who alone conquered the four directions simply with the help of the second fool.
41. O gentle one, I simply lament for he, Dhritarashtra, who rebelled against his brother after death. By him I was driven out of my own house, although I am his sincere well-wisher, because he accepted the line of action adopted by his own sons. 42. I am not astonished at this, having traveled over the world without being seen by others. The activities of the personality of Godhead, which are like those of a man in this mortal world, are bewildering to others. But I know of his greatness by his grace, and thus I am happy in all respects. 43. Despite his being the Lord and being always willing to relieve the distress of sufferers, he, Krishna, refrained from killing the Kurus, although they committed all sorts of sins, and although he saw other kings constantly agitating the earth by their strong military movements carried out under the dictation of three kinds of false prestige. 44. The appearance of the Lord is manifested for the annihilation of the upstarts. His activities are transcendental and are enacted for the understanding of all persons. Otherwise, since the Lord is transcendental to all material modes, what purpose could he serve by coming to earth? 45. O my friend, please therefore chant the glories of the Lord, who is meant to be glorified in the places of pilgrimage. He is unborn, and yet he appears by his causeless mercy upon the surrendered souls of all parts of the universe. Only for their interest did he appear in the family of his unalloyed devotees, the Yadus. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Questions by Vidura.
Okay, so I just wrote just a couple notes from the translations themselves. So the last verses of Canto 2, chapter 10, talks about, so I'm just going to read my notes, nothing too elaborate here. After hearing about the creation, Sanaka Rishi asked Sutta Goswami about Vidura, who had left his home and his relatives. He specifically asked what transcendental topics Vidura had asked of Maitreya and why Vidura left his family, then returned again. He also wanted to know what Vidura did while on pilgrimage. Sutta Goswami indicated that he would now explain these very topics, asked by King Pariksit, and tell Sanaka Rishi to hear attentively. So now we're in Canto 3. I just wanted to kind of like bring it into. Canto 3, the questions by Vidura. So Sukadev Goswami began by saying that King Vidura asked the following questions of Maitreya Rishi. Number 1, what else is there to say about the residential house of the Pandavas, the house of which Lord Sri Krishna would enter as if it were his own? Second question, where and when did this discussion take place? King Vidura's credibility as a pure devotee is also mentioned, and Sutta Goswami answers. The great sage Sukadeva Goswami invites King Vidura to hear the topics attentively, and he talks about Dhritarashtra. And he says that Dhritarashtra became blind under the influence of impious desires to nourish his dishonest sons, and thus set fire to burn his fatherless nephews, the Pandavas. Dhritarashtra did not forbid his son Dushasana. He did not forbid him the act of grabbing the hair of Draupadi. Dhritarashtra also refused to return a rightful piece of land to Maharaj Yudhishthira, who had been defeated unfairly in gambling. And Dhritarashtra also did not take Lord Krishna's counsel very seriously. Dhritarashtra at one point invites his younger brother Vidura for counsel. And so Vidura told Dhritarashtra to return the legitimate share of land to Yudhishthira, who had suffered on his account. He also said that Lord Krishna had accepted the sons of Pritha as his kinsmen, that all the kings of the world are with Lord Krishna. And he said that you're maintaining a sense personified. Duryodhana is your infallible son who is envious of Sri Krishna. As he was maintaining a non-devotee of Krishna, this will result in you being devoid of all auspicious qualities. He says to relieve, King Vidura says to relieve yourself of this ill fortune as soon as possible and do good for the whole family. While speaking thus, he was insulted by Duryodhana, asking who had asked. Well, I'm sorry, my notes are kind of a mess here. So Duryodhana, as King Vidura is giving this counsel, Duryodhana comes and he says, well, who would ask Vidura to come here? He's only the son of a kept mistress. He is so crooked that he spies in the interest of the enemy against those whose support he has grown up. He asks that Vidura be tossed out of the palace and leave him with only his breath. So in other words, let him go alive, but maybe he plans on beating him or taking his belongings, something like that. Vidura then placed his bow on the door and left his brother's palace. He was not sorry, though, because he considered the acts of external energy to be supreme. After leaving the kingdom, he traveled to many places of pilgrimage, where thousands of transcendental forms of the Lord were situated. He thought of the Lord and he performed duties to please the Lord. And then he meets up with Uddhava at the bank of Yamuna, who's a great devotee of Lord Krishna, and embraced him. And he asked, of all different people within the family, how they're all doing. Vidura confides that he laments for Dhritarashtra, who went against his own brother after his brother had died. He shares that the grace of the Lord has been upon him and that the activities of the Lord are transcendental. He asks otherwise, since the Lord is transcendental to the material modes, what purpose could he serve by coming to this earth? And the conversation ends with Vidura glorifying the Lord and imploring Uddhava to chant the glories of the Lord. So nothing elaborate. I just kind of went back. I just kind of want to, it's always hard for me to understand where the chapter's going. So I just took a couple notes there. Would someone else like to add specific things that that caught their attention or to that effect? Would anybody like to add? Or did anybody have the chance to hear the overview? Which I didn't have time.
Yeah. Mataji, just a few things. I was thinking that once we have heard from everybody, then probably like we can read the preface and the introduction if we still have time from the third canto, just before the chapter 1. So we feel like we have read from cover to cover of the book. Like personally, what I was thinking all through the translations is like how Krishna's devotees always want to hear about Krishna. So for me, I was only thinking how Parikshit Maharaj is so inquisitive that he was asking Sukdev Goswami about Vidura and like even like when Vidura met Uddhava, like he was asking questions not just about Krishna but every relative of Krishna. Like he was so personal to ask how his father was and how his sons were, how his wives were, and like every mention is there of every person in all the purports. So I was appreciating like how inquisitive they are to actually know and hear more about spiritual topics that are related to Krishna. So that was my like a take home thing, to always hear about Krishna and his devotees, to be inquisitive, to be eager to hear. And actually, Mataji, if we look back, whenever I hear all these verses, I kind of feel that they're all linked to those Chaturshloki verses, so I keep saying it several times. But the last verse of Chaturshloki verse, it actually speaks about the qualification of a devotee is to be eager to hear topics about Krishna. And that's what I was linking these to, that all the devotees, they really want to hear, constantly hear the glories of Krishna. So that's all I have to share.
Mataji, this is Govardhan Leela. I would love to read, but I'm not yet in the house. I'm going to try to get into the house. I'm just coming home now. So if there's any reading to be done, hopefully I can do it as soon as I get in the house. Okay? Thank you.
Mataji, I have nothing from my side. I would like to read the, not read, but hear the preface and introduction.
Do you want to start by reading, and then Govardhan Leela can pick up the point?
Mataji, you are asking me to read? Okay, Mataji, I can read. Okay, first is the preface. I think someone forgot to mute their phone. Either they're shoveling snow or something.
Okay. Mataji, it could be myself. I'm trying to get into the house and maybe I'm making noise. I apologize.
Yeah, I think the preface is the same as the preface that we heard earlier, but maybe I will read anyway. We must know the present need of human society. And what is it that need? And what is that need? Human society is no longer bounded by geographical limits to particular countries or communities. Human society is broader than in the Middle Ages, and the world tendency is toward one state or one human society. The ideas of spiritual communism, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, are based more or less on the oneness of the entire human society, nay, of the entire energy of living beings. The need is felt by great thinkers to make this a successful ideology. Srimad Bhagavatam will fill this need in human society. It begins, therefore, with an aphorism of Vedanta philosophy, Janma Jasya Yata, to establish the ideal of a common cause. Human society at the present moment is not in the darkness of oblivion. It has made rapid progress in the fields of material comfort, education, and economic development throughout the entire world. But there is a pin somewhere in the social body at large, and therefore there are large-scale quarrels even over less important issues. There is need of a clue as to how humanity can become one in peace, friendship, and prosperity with the common cause. Srimad Bhagavatam will fulfill this need, for it is a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. Srimad Bhagavatam should be introduced also in schools and colleges, for it is recommended by the great student Prahlad Maharaj in order to change the demoniac state of society. Kaumara acharat pragyo dharman bhagavatan iha durlabham manusham janma tat api adhivam arthadam. Bhagavatam 7.6.1. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.6.1. Disparity in human society is due to lack of principles in a godless civilization. There is God, or the Almighty One, from whom everything emanates, by whom everything is maintained, and in whom everything is merged to rest. Material science has tried to find the ultimate source of creation very insufficiently. But it is a fact that there is one ultimate source of everything that be. This ultimate source is explained rationally and authoritatively in the beautiful Bhagavatam, or Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the transcendental science not only for knowing the ultimate source of everything, but also for knowing our relation with Him and our duty towards perfection of the human society on the basis of this perfect knowledge. It is powerful reading matter in Sanskrit language, and it is now rendered into English elaborately, so that simply by a careful reading, one will know God perfectly well, so much so that the reader will be sufficiently educated to defend himself from the onslaught of atheists. Over and above this, the reader will be able to convert others to accepting God as a concrete principle. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the definition of the ultimate source. It is a bona fide commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the same author, Srila Vyasadeva, and gradually it develops into 9 cantos up to the highest stage of God realization. The only qualification one needs to study this great book of transcendental knowledge is to proceed step by step cautiously and not jump forward haphazardly as with an ordinary book. It should be gone through chapter by chapter, one after another. The reading matter is so arranged with the original Sanskrit text, its English transliteration, synonyms, translation and purport, so that one is sure to become a God-realized soul at the end of finishing the first 9 cantos. The 10th canto is distinct from the first 9 cantos because it deals directly with the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. One will be unable to capture the effects of the 10th canto without going through the first 9 cantos. The book is complete in 12 cantos, each independent, but it is good for all to read them in small installments, one after another. I must admit my frailties in presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, but still I am hopeful of its good reception by the thinkers and leaders of society on the strength of the following statement of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tatvat visargo janatagha viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhiyatyapi yati abhay yat vati api namani anantasya yasho ankitani yaj shrunvanti gayanti grananti sadhavam. On the other hand, that literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, and pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a transcendental creation meant for bringing about a revolution in the impious life of a misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literature, even though irregularly composed, is heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Om Tat Sat. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami.
Wow. Okay, Mataji, just to let you know, I am home and, I'm available to read if you want me to continue.
Yes, please, Mataji. You can read the introduction.
Thank you. Okay, this Bhagavat Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.43. The timeless wisdom of India is expressed in the Vedas, ancient Sanskrit texts that touch upon all fields of human knowledge. Originally preserved through oral tradition, the Vedas were first put into writing 5,000 years ago by Srila Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of God. After compiling the Vedas, Vyasadeva set forth their essence in the aphorisms known as Vedanta Sutras. Srimad Bhagavatam, or the Bhagavat Purana, is Vyasadeva's commentary on his own Vedanta Sutras. It was written in the maturity of his spiritual life under the direction of Narada Muni, his spiritual master. Referred to as the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam is the most complete and authoritative exposition of Vedic knowledge. After compiling the Bhagavatam, Vyasa imparted the synopsis of it to his son, the sage Shukadev Goswami. Shukadev Goswami subsequently recited the entire Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit in an assembly of learned saints on the bank of the Ganges at Hastinapur, now Delhi. Maharaj Parikshit was the emperor of the world and was a great Rajarshi, saintly king, or Rajarshi. Having received a warning that he would die within a week, he renounced his entire kingdom and retired to the bank of the Ganges to fast until death and receive spiritual enlightenment. The Bhagavatam begins with Emperor Parikshit's sober inquiry to Shukadev Goswami. You are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons, and especially for one who is about to die. Please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. Shukadev Goswami's answer to this question and numerous other questions posed by Maharaj Parikshit concerning everything from the nature of the self to the origin of the universe held the assembled sages in rapt attention continuously for the 7 days leading up to the king's death. The sage Sutta Goswami, who was present in that assembly when Shukadev Goswami first recited Srimad Bhagavatam, later repeated the Bhagavatam before a gathering of sages in the forest of Naimisharanya. Those sages concerned about the spiritual welfare of the people in general had gathered to perform a long, continuous chain of sacrifices to counteract the degrading influence of the incipient age of Kali. In response to the sage's request that he speak the essence of Vedic wisdom, Sutta Goswami repeated from memory the entire 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam as spoken by Shukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. The reader of Srimad Bhagavatam hears Sutta Goswami relate the questions of Maharaj Parikshit and the answers of Shukadev Goswami. Also, Sutta Goswami sometimes responds directly to questions put by Shaunaka Rishi, the spokesman for the sages gathered at Naimisharanya, I think. One therefore simultaneously hears two dialogues, one between Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadev Goswami on the bank of the Ganges, and another at Naimisharanya between Sutta Goswami and the sages at Naimisharanya forest, headed by Shaunaka Rishi. Furthermore, while instructing King Parikshit, Shukadev Goswami often relates historical episodes and gives accounts of lengthy philosophical discussions between such great souls as Narada Muni and Vasudeva. With this understanding of the history of the Bhagavatam, the reader will easily be able to follow its intermingling of dialogues and events from various sources. Since philosophical wisdom, not chronological order, is most important in the text, one need only be attentive to the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam to fully appreciate its profound message. The translators of this edition compare the Bhagavatam to sugar candy. Wherever you taste it, you will find it equally sweet and relishable. Therefore, to taste the sweetness of the Bhagavatam, one may begin by reading any of its volumes. After such an introductory taste, however, the serious reader is best advised to go back to the first canto and then proceed through the Bhagavatam, canto after canto, in its natural order. This edition of the Bhagavatam is the first complete English translation of this important text with an elaborate commentary, and it is the first widely available to the English-speaking public. The first 12 volumes, Canto 1 through Canto 10, Part 1, are the product of the scholarly and devotional effort of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness and the world's most distinguished teacher of Indian religious and philosophical thought. His consummate Sanskrit scholarship and intimate familiarity with Vedic culture and thought, as well as the modern way of life, combine to reveal to the West a magnificent exposition of this important classic. After the departure of Srila Prabhupada from this world in 1977, his monument, I have a chorus in the background, I'm very sorry about that. In 1977, his monumental work of translating and annotating Srimad Bhagavatam has been continued by his disciples, Sri Dayananda Das Goswami and Gopi Paranandana Das. Readers will find this work of value for many reasons. For those interested in the classical roots of Indian civilization, it serves as a vast reservoir of detailed information on virtually every one of its aspects. For students of comparative philosophy and religion, the Bhagavatam offers a penetrating view into the meaning of India's profound spiritual heritage. To sociologists and anthropologists, the Bhagavatam reveals the practical workings of a peaceful and scientifically organized Vedic culture, whose institutions were integrated on the basis of a highly developed spiritual worldview. Students of literature will discover the Bhagavatam to be a masterpiece of majestic poetry. For students of psychology, the text provides important perspectives on the nature of consciousness, human behavior, and the philosophical study of identity. Finally, to those seeking spiritual insight, the Bhagavatam offers simple and practical guidance for attainment of the highest self-knowledge and realization of the absolute truth. The entire multi-volume text presented by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust promises to occupy a significant place in the intellectual, cultural, and spiritual life of modern man for a long time to come. Wow. And I was just thinking, you know, in reading this, when Vyasadeva narrates all of the, 18,000 something verses. Somebody hearing this, that's why it's interesting. You really have to study this in order not to, I'm sorry, I'm just having trouble concentrating here because I have this background dog here. That someone would have to be studying this and really understanding who Vyasadeva really was, so as not to start thinking that this is some kind of mythology or something, you know, that this is really serious and that this is actually what happened, that these were enlightened souls that did this. I mean, the average person just reading that, well, you know, it's just, it's mythology. Nobody can memorize 18,000 something verses by memory, blah, blah, blah. You know, you'd have to have studied this and understand who these enlightened souls are, I think, in order to really comprehend what it's saying here, you know, so that this actually is true and not some kind of a, because there are people who don't take it seriously, and which of course is to their detriment, of course. But anyway, that just came to my mind when I was hearing that, you know, that it was preserved through oral tradition, and that it was put into writing 5,000 years ago by Srila Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of God. You know, after having gone through a couple of cantos and all the lectures I hear, I understand what that means. I don't know that the average reader, I mean, it's for many different kinds of readers too. So, you know, maybe they don't take it the same way I'm taking it. And it's okay, because there are many different kinds of readers. And just to think that we're getting this knowledge, you know, from these enlightened souls, it's just unbelievable. I don't know, it just strikes me every time I hear, you know, who Narada Muni is, and Srila Vyasadeva, and just and Maharaj Parikshit, etc. I feel, you know, pretty blessed. So that's it. Hare Krishna. Is anybody there?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
I thought I lost everyone.
No, Mataji. I'm here. Thank you so much for reading, Mataji.
You're welcome. Ay, ay, ay.
Is that Prabhala's voice?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, that's Prabhala Mataji.
Prabhala, I have not heard you for a long time, and I just wanted to to ask. I know you had said that you were very, very busy at the temple. Just do me a favor and please let me know when you want to be put back on the schedule.
Sure,
okay.
I'll let you know. By 26th, mostly I can finish my work at the temple. So hopefully after that I'll be available for reading. But
and when would that be?
After 25th.
The 25th, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just text me to remind me.
Sure, Mataji.
Like,
thank you.
Like on a Friday before. Thank you.
Manasi Ganga Mataji, would you like to share anything before we end? To wrap up or anything?
No, I did not have my book in front of me when the reading was being done on the introduction. Can you do me a favor, Mataji, and just, we always hear these names and the two conversations. Could you just, in a very simple way, just say, because I didn't have the book in front of me, and I didn't know we were going to be reading that whole introduction. So could you just say, like, if this conversation, Maharaj Pariksit is about to die, right? And Sukadev Goswami is answering his question, right? His questions, and I guess reciting the verses. But could you tell me now how the other? I wasn't able to hear. How was the other conversation? The other people? They're sages, and what is it? It's a conversation between who again?
So Mataji, the sages of Naimisharanya. So there is a place that in Naimisharanya, there were sages who had assembled in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 1. This comes, so the sages actually wanted to do some welfare to the whole of the universe, because they thought that Kali Yuga has come, Krishna has left. So there is no proper place where religion is going to reside. So they thought that they're going to perform this magnanimous yagya, sacrifice, and by doing that, they're going to bring benefit to the whole universe. So they assembled in a place called Naimisharanya, which is like the hub of the entire universe. It's like an axis that penetrates through, like the earth has an axis that goes through, I
hear that certain places in the world, on the planet Earth, have a lot of spiritual energy. Is that what you're saying? Like they're access points.
Yeah, no, Mataji, that's not the axis is, the axis on which the earth rotates.
Yes.
There's an axis is aligned on which the earth rotates. Similarly, there is an axis for the entire universe.
Oh.
That axis actually runs through this place called Naimisharanya. So this place, Naimisharanya, is extremely potent because it's said that when somebody performs a sacrifice, the whole universe will benefit. It's not just the earth. The entire universe will benefit. So knowing this, the sages, they assembled in this place and they started to perform the sacrifice. So while they were performing the sacrifice, they realized that because it is Kali Yuga, they were not really able to recite the mantras in a very pure way. Not much benefit was actually coming from the sacrifice they were doing. Only thing that was happening is that their faces were turning black because of the ashes that were coming from the sacrificial fire. So at that time, all these sages were headed by Shaunaka Ruchi. The name of the Rishi or the sage is Shaunaka. So he, at that time, Suta Goswami was passing by. So he asked Suta Goswami that you have heard the Srimad Bhagavatam being recited by Sukadev Goswami in the presence of Parikshit Maharaj and other sages. So we know that you have heard the entire Srimad Bhagavatam and you have assimilated it. So is it possible that you can explain to us what you have heard from Sukadev Goswami, and by doing that, Then Suta Goswami, he starts to recite Srimad Bhagavatam to Shaunaka Rishi and the other sages present in Naimisharanya.
Thank you so much. So it's repeating what. So it's repeating the conversation between Sukadev. Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. So, shall we continue tomorrow? Shall we end here?
Yeah. Why not? Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you all. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jai.
Jai.